Geraldo Span.
We are live.
Now remember.
Yeah, but you saw me wait. That's the thing.
I didn't know we were live until you said it, so I still wanted to remind
We have a little live button in the upper left corner.
Also, I get a phone
This will never
notification.
end, will it? This will never end.
It's been over a year now, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Should we sack Andy? That's the way to end it.
That'll work.
Sometimes he makes good jokes. Sometimes,
yes,
not
he does.
always. Don't let that go to your head.
And then who would I bond with?
Right.
It's true. Yeah. That's what the viewers don't know. Is that before recording, I'm running around putting some like last minute makeup on my face and trying to. This time I'm in a pajama, but sometimes I'm not, and that's what I do. And I get a last minute tea going. I'm in jam.
Guys, are we all wearing gray shirts?
We are. We're all wearing gray shirts.
Oh, literary Roadhouse uniform.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What a day.
Welcome to Literary Gray Shirts.
What a day to be alive. Living our best life.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
All right.
This is a strange phrase.
Gerald's probably wearing a gray shirt, though.
It's not a grey shirt. It's a grey shirt. We were having a conversation. Because
that's what they talk about while I'm getting ready. That was the story I was telling, and now we'll discuss an actual story.
How Americans ruin a perfectly good language.
Oh God, here we go. Horrific. We were talking about that yesterday. Anyway,
horrific.
This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story once a week. I'm Anise.
Is it me?
Yeah.
I see. I never know.
Hello, it's your story.
After me.
It's not my story.
Next.
Oh, it's my story next. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Gerald.
I'm Andy.
I'm not cutting or editing any of that. All right.
No.
Okay, so this week we read No One Here Is Going to Save You by Julian Zabalbeascoa. I like all the vowels in that name. If you haven't read the story, go read it. It's not that long. Come back or don't read it. You know what? Do you? Okay.
6,500 words. It's quite long. It's moderately long.
It's a standard short story length.
Okay. Shut up, George.
I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Yes, it's 6,500 words.
Yeah, so what's this dumb story about?
So the story takes place towards the end of the Spanish Civil War at the San Pedro de Cardeña monastery, which was converted into a prison and Francoist concentration camp. The story is told from the point of view of Manuel, a Falangist soldier, which is a member of General Franco's political party and military. We witness Manuel become uncomfortable with the executions, brutality, and dehumanizing treatment of his fellow Spaniards as another routine day of execution unfolds. 8 soldiers are to be executed by firing squad, Manuel among the soldiers. One of the 8 prisoners is a priest who asked to be killed in place of a communist who has a wife and children. The priest's noble sacrifice in particular disquiets Manuel's sense of routine. A prisoner insists he is innocent and begs for his life, which Manuel finds less inspiring. At the time of execution, Manuel's superior, Major Luna, replaces Manuel's rifle with another and has Manuel stand before the priest. When he shoots, only gunpowder erupts, sparing the priest. Major Luna laughs and laughs. He thinks it's so funny. And he says that they won't kill the priest, but they will kill the communist who was brought out and executed. Wow. Manuel and his fellow soldier, Antonio, escort the priest out of the monastery.
Plot twist.
And that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it is. That's what always happens.
So what did you guys think of the story? I don't know who wants to go first.
I'm a bit of a fence sitter on this one. In some respects, I like it, but I felt unsatisfied by it. There you go. I enjoyed the reading, but I don't generally like short stories that make me work too hard. So ones with lots of foreign language, because I don't know what it means.
Well, this only had Spanish, though.
Yeah. Strangely, I don't speak Spanish.
Oh, you should speak more Spanish.
You have bits of German, I'd be all right, or French, but not Spanish. Anyway, so yes, I was a bit. That was a bit irritating, and it was okay, but I just thought, at the end of it, I just thought, oh, okay, and whatever.
Yeah, similar. I don't know. It was a story about how dehumanizing people's bad, and then it stopped. And then I felt bad. So thanks.
I mean, I
mean-
suppose it's a glimpse into the Spanish Civil War. My partner's written a book on art with the Spanish Civil War as a backdrop, and the stories that came out of the Spanish Civil War were horrendous, and nobody wanted to be caught up in it. But they felt extremely passionate about fighting the fascists. So, yeah. So that was that. So yeah, it was all right. Yeah, it's not very nice. It's all very horrible, and there you go. Sorry, I'm just talking for no reason. I'll shut up.
No, I don't know.
You don't know.
Think,
Concentration camp stories.
Yeah, but I think this
They're
one
like
in
a laugh
particular- Yeah. No, but I think this one in particular, like, yes, it's about how dehumanizing people is bad, but I think it's also about, in part, how Manuel, in order to survive, has to, in a way, dehumanize himself too. Like, hold on, I wrote it in a different way in my notes. Let me find my notes. Like basically, like basically, so he, one of the recurring themes a little bit is how the other soldiers are kind of relishing in any chance to beat them or rape the women, or, you know, and they'll kind of wink and nod at each other, and he tries not to encourage it. He's not relishing in brutalizing the prisoners. He's not acting on their behalf either, though. He's not exactly a hero, because as he acknowledges towards the end of the story, right, there was, after he did his first execution of the silver mine owner, when he has that memory, he wanted to go to Major Luna and ask to be transferred because he was uncomfortable with what was happening, or uncomfortable with his role in it. But he stopped himself from doing so because he knows if he does that, then there's a good chance he's going to be the one behind bars in the prison. And the reason why Major Luna gives him the gunpowder gun and says specifically, you're the one that needs to stand in front of the priests, is they're testing him. They are suspicious of him, right? They want to see if he pulls the trigger, and he does without hesitation. So it's like, it's about how, even though he still has compassion for his fellow humans, that is subsumed by his own struggle to survive. And in the process, his own humanity is being blighted, which, you know, it's a little bit about how, like, very brutal regimes, in order to survive in them, you have to be brutal yourself. You don't survive living by your ideals. So you either die like the priest, you either have to choose to die by your morals, or if you don't want to die, you got to become the thing that you don't necessarily agree with. So I think that's more sharply what it's about.
Yeah. And you've got the Spanish Civil War was like a rehearsal for the Second World War, in some respects, fighting fascists and all that. And the same applied then, that a lot of people had to fall in line, otherwise they would join the prisoners and suffer the consequences. So it's not good.
Yeah, I think I also liked it a bit more than you guys, in part because I think I had like a stronger emotional reaction, in particular because a little bit we were talking about before we went live, which is like with members of my family going real far in a fashy direction. I see this, and I see it kind of echoed in like the random like group chats that I'm in, right? Like people in the group chats literally saying things like, anyone who votes for Democrat is my enemy. Okay. Like literally these are the things that are being said in these crazy group chats that I'm just like, right? And it's like, yeah. When I started digging to, because I didn't know that much about the Spanish Civil War other than it happened and like the major characters' names, right? But I didn't know too much about it. So I'm here like looking up like, wait, what's a Carlist? Wait, what? All these different things, right? Like, where's Soria? Where's the Duero River? Like, I didn't really know too much about it. So I started looking up all of this, and I'm just seeing all of these echoes about what's happening now because I'm exposed to it every day in like a curated thread of crazy that comes to my phone. And I think that's why I probably had a strong reaction to it. I think it's no accident that this particular writer published this in 2016, right? Like there's a reason why this guy did it right now. And I think choosing the Spanish Civil War when you're writing this primarily for an American audience, kind of given where he tends to publish his writing, if you look him up and where he teaches. Because if you were to make it Hitler and the Nazis, Americans are more familiar with that story, it feels a bit tired. Where with this one, I think most
Right.
Americans are not as familiar with the Spanish Civil War, so you have to go digging, myself included, and then you're like, oh, right. So I think setting it in that context, because there's many to choose from when you want to pick a fascist regime to talk to serve as a cautionary tale. I think picking one that your likely audience isn't very familiar with, forcing them to go research it, is to reconfirm, hey, I know you guys know this, but like let's just refresh our brains with it a little bit. Let's just put a little like history brainwash over your brain right now. And it's funny because as I was looking stuff up, I did come across a blog article that was making that more explicit, like a historian's view on it, right? The connection between what's happening now, what happened in Spain. So I think I liked it from that perspective. Like I think he did a few clever things. One, like picking something that most Americans are not very familiar with, so you have to go research. And then two, he's never really telling us the soldiers' politics. We don't know what he actually agrees with politically. All we know is he wants to survive. All we know is he joined the army because he wanted to leave the orphanage. That's his whole thing. Which feels more universal because then you as the reader don't agree or disagree with the soldier.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you read more Hemingway, you'd know a lot about the Spanish Civil War.
It's true.
Just saying.
Well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Or
not saying you should read
Points
it.
to Gerald and Hemingway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love him. Anyway. Yeah. I think it's good in that respect that it shows that it does tend to show that the soldiers are not very different to the prisoners, and it's just for a sort of an arbitrary. I mean, you don't know if the prisoners are fervent communists or whether they're just caught on the wrong side of a divide and they're not pro-Franco, therefore they must be communists and must be destroyed. But it's not. But it's that's just how there's no sort of strict dividing lines really. That they're the same people, and it's kind of strange that you meet people in ordinary life who have very different attitudes to certain things and very different political views, but they're just normal people like us. And if you didn't know what their attitudes were like, you were, you could be friends with them. So it's I think it's kind of that. I think that kind of works well to be able to show that they are just people side by side, and the fact that a priest was, did offer to take the place of a communist, and they didn't shoot the priest in the end. It made me laugh. They shot the communist anyway. That's not funny, Gerald.
Shooting the communists.
Yeah.
Just yucks a minute in this here story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, whether or not the prisoners are actually communists doesn't even matter.
It didn't do anything else to grab me, though, the story, right? It was like, so I suppose the timing is relevant from when it was published, but nothing Annie's that you've said I disagree with. But it was just like, here's another story about fascism and dehumanizing camps. I'm like, oh, look, if dehumanizing the prisoners also dehumanizes the guards. Everyone just turns into bad. It's bad. It's bad for everyone. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't know. I've also read that in better stories, and this didn't do anything else.
Yeah. And I think having read it and got to the end, I thought it was that's why I felt dissatisfied by it, because I just thought, that happened. That was a story.
Right.
It's not the sort of thing I would recommend to anyone else particularly. It didn't light any fires or set any fireworks off. It's just, a competently written story that had too much Spanish in it, obviously.
Well, it didn't have nearly enough Spanish. It's in Spain.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh.
Right. Why was so much of it in English?
Yes. Well, they wouldn't have read it then.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also like I agree. It didn't exactly light a fire under me either. I think I had more fun learning about the Spanish Civil War than I mean, that's true. I just kind of like, oh yeah, thank you for reminding me to like sometimes learn stuff. So I like that part of it because I don't mind stories that make me work. Like I Google anything anyway, so I'll do it for a story. Yes. I'll do it for the dumbest of things. But
I think I like to Google things because I want to expand my knowledge about the situation or what it's writing about or something, or about the author or things like that. I like researching that. But if I have to research to tell me what the word means in the story that I'm reading time after time, I tend not to do that, and I don't. And I think I miss things because of my inherent laziness and inability to understand Spanish. So I feel got at.
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, tough. No, I don't.
As someone who speaks Spanish, so. It's not key to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I thought it was clever that a few other things like juxtaposing the very noble priest who's like sacrificing himself for the communists with the family versus the prisoner who's sort of like begging for his life, which we all understand, right? But he's just like, if you're gonna shoot, like if you're willing to like shoot someone, you should be willing to die by the bullet, right? Like Manuel doesn't have a lot of sympathy for that. That kind of cowardice gets under his skin, which is interesting. I don't really know what that says about Manuel, because like I'm kind of like.
Well, right. Sense. Manuel's also our nice guy, but he's the only one we see bust a guy in the face. So,
but he's not really a nice guy, right? He's kind of just the young guy trying to survive. He doesn't even really have any.
Well, he gives everyone cigarettes.
Yeah, but that's like nice. When he busts the guy's nose, he regrets doing it because he knows it's going to encourage the other guys. But he did it because he's annoyed that a guy is begging for his life. Like Manuel, I mean, come on. It's basically, but in a way, it's like, isn't that you? Is he kind of afraid of this guy's cowardice because it reflects his own cowardice because he's uncomfortable with what's happening here, but he can't live by his convictions the way that the priest does. So he's pissed off seeing the guy who's like, oh, I'm more like that guy. I'm more like the sniveling guy. And he's just mad at his own reflection right now. Maybe that's what he's mad at.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah,
but it still broke the guy's nose.
Yeah.
And that's not good. I don't think there's.
Well, the guy's about to die, so I don't know.
Yeah. So it's all right.
No, it's all right, but I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, and then of course the little like reminders back to like when his dad abandoned him at an orphanage after his mom abandoned him. All those little bits where he likes becoming the thing. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Nothing here is like revolutionary or new, but sometimes,
I do worry that it's apparently one of a series of connected short stories.
Yeah,
and I wonder if there's a danger that this suffers from part of a novel syndrome. So it's okay, but it doesn't really stand on its own 2 feet to be a short story. It's sort of, this is something, and then you read another one which is connected to it, and maybe the whole 7 is something, says something.
Or maybe to be a bit more like specific, maybe what we're kind of saying, because I think, I mean, it does stand on its own in terms of a beginning and an end and a story and something happens, but it's not electrifying in the way it might be in an anthology.
Yeah, and we don't really see much of the sort of characterization. They're all fairly 2-dimensional, really, to me.
Yeah.
Given that there are 2 sides to and separated by bars, so there's that sort of thing, and maybe it's deliberate to show that there is very little between them. They're all similar people, but I don't know. I would like to have at least had one character stand out as being somehow different, somehow having a different viewpoint on things.
Though it's funny, like I would say the most 2-dimensional character is Father Del Valle, the priest who's coming in being all pompous and lecturing everyone about why communists suck, that guy. But again, from the crazy chats that I see, that's kind of how they talk when they're in that mode. It's like a tribal thing. When they're not in that mode, they're like their old selves, and then they get in that mode and it's like just talking in like these like Yeah. Like it felt two-dimensional, but it also felt like a performance that I see. And I'm like, it's also kind of true.
Yeah.
They do sort of flatten into this thing until like I don't know. I say when people go really hard in this way, they kind of like become kind of zombie-ish. Like kind of themselves, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that's I found interesting recently. Is I'm watching? What am I watching? People who are supporting this piece of software which is on passive, and it's going to take over the world basically, and it's going to be fantastic, and they've invested in it, and they are getting other people invested in it, and despite the non-appearance of the product month after month after month, they keep pumping out these. It's really exciting. It's going to be great, and we've heard from the founder, and he says it's great, and everyone says it's going to be great, and we're going to make loads of money from this, and then the next week the same stuff, and the product still doesn't appear, and it just, hey, there's haters out there who don't understand.
Are you talking about the Theranos trial? Because it sounds like the Theranos trial.
No, it's this thing called on passive, and so you pay $97 to be a founder, and apparently there's 1 million founders nearly, but you pay $97, and then you're a founder, and then you can get people underneath you, which forms a sort of a shape like this, which
one of those triangle shapes.
Well, those triangle building
or a
sort of
pyramid
things.
shape.
Yes, that's out of it's against the law, but it's.
I'm googling a little, and I'm already exhausted just by the headlines.
No, I just right.
It is, but it's a bit like that, and they go on each other's podcasts and on each other's live things, and they're saying how great it is. It's like, it's very cultish, and it's that sort of thing that they're persuading each other that it's really great, and how fantastic it's going to be when it takes off and when it comes out, and it's a bit like that. I think that there's a whole like sort of subculture built around it that draws people in, and I think, yeah, I'm buying into this, and you just sometimes you think, well, if you step back and look at it, you'd think, not very much. And I think it's the same with people on the right politically, to me, and people on the left.
Yeah,
also,
far left too. I have that in my family where like some people went all the way to the right, they jumped off a ledge, and all the way to the left, they jumped off a ledge, and then they meet in the middle somehow, and it's like, okay,
yeah.
Like I don't know what just happened, but this chat is a mess. Like,
yeah,
just
and I think there are we're going to be off topic, but never mind. There's several hot button topics that I see on social media that as soon as somebody says not quite the 100% right thing, they get a torrent of abuse because they are, misogynistic or transphobic or this or that, because they haven't quite got the words right or something. It's like you can't make a little bit of a mistake because you people in this world jump on you, and I think it's the same. I just I've tried talking to people from a different political perspective to me, and it's just a waste of time. And people saying, why don't you talk and understand? And I've tried that. They just anyway, way off topic.
I think those are two different things. Like one is kind of like virtue signaling, social justice, social media cancel stuff, and then the other stuff is just like conspiracy land. They're like slightly different. They're just I'm talking more conspiracy land.
Okay.
There's so many.
Yes.
But okay, so I'm trying to get back to the story. Should we rate it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess.
What do we do out of 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a strange number, isn't it? Why do we do that, I wonder?
It's a weird number, yeah.
It's a weird number. It's a good number. 6.
In a way, I've come to like that number. But.
Yeah, I like it. I think I'm. No, 3. I was gonna go a bit soft and give it more, but the fact that they used Spanish words a lot.
Oh my god!
Try to make me work. I'm not having. I tell you, I'm not having that.
I'm going to give it a 2 because they didn't use Spanish words enough.
What?
Wow. All right.
It's in Spain. I don't know why they mostly speak in English except for accent phrases.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I'm giving it a 4. And that's it. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems like something you would do.
All right. Well.
I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. Read way better fascist concentration camp stories.
Yeah.
Just,
but it's still, yeah.
If you're going to throw your glove into the genre, like, have something to say.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said,
Fascism's bad. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Knew that.
Also, it kind of reminded me of the Squid Game. Have you guys watched the Squid Game yet?
I haven't watched the Squid Game.
No,
You should
watch the Squid Game. Because in the Squid Game, it's different. It's about capitalism.
Is Squid Game just Battle Royale?
No.
It looks like Battle Royale, so I didn't watch anymore. I've already seen Battle Royale.
It's good. You should watch it. But basically, it's like capitalism bad, but then in order to survive, you have to be bad too. Because for like the first slightly more than half of the series, it's 9 episodes. Some people are able to survive through solidarity and with each other. And then in one of the episodes, that's no longer possible. That is turned on its head. And it is that solidarity which makes you.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's pretty good.
Are there squids in it? Oh,
no squids.
But there is a game where the board, where like the floor, like the pitch that you're playing on, looks like a squid.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It's because they're playing a bunch of Korean children's games, and one of the Korean children's games is called Squid Game.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. All right. You should watch
Is it in English?
You can dub it in English on Netflix if you want. It's also subtitled.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. So, Gerald, what are we reading next week?
Well, I just sort of, I just realized the irony of me ranting about somebody making me try to understand Spanish. And next week's story is Huevos Estrelados by Vanessa Bernice de la Cruz.
Gerald's like, I enjoy
Gerald.
Yes. Yeah.
And you picked that.
However, and I knew huevos was eggs. So that's as far as my Spanish goes. So it's fried eggs. So there you go.
I have a feeling I'm just going to do a quick look on this story. Are there Spanish words in here? Because then we can just like copy and paste some of your. Yep, there are. All right.
Are there? Oh, what? Oh, I haven't done that.
It's just not italicized. That's how they get you.
Oh, what? Oh,
I think I only saw one. Nope, there's a few. Yeah. Gerald, you did it to yourself. You played yourself.
Oh, no. They should italicize it and put it in red and flashing lights and stuff and say, look, foreign stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you just want to learn Spanish.
Maybe I do.
Yeah.
I did
go to like you're Spanish drawn lessons. To these stories.
Yeah. Well, I did speak a bit of Spanish when I was over there. Huevos. I know huevos is eggs. Anyway, that's about it, really.
All right. Well, that's what we're reading next week. But before you go, confess your sins against the podcast interests in our Facebook discussion group, the Literary Roadhouse Readers. And perhaps one of your sins is your failure to, nay, your refusal to, leave a review on iTunes. But it's not too late to save yourself with an iTunes review. And repent with a humble type supporting our podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/Literary Roadhouse. Every bit helps you save yourself from the podcast firing squad, which is like probably just Gerald, Andy, and I finding your benign, like, I don't know, Merry Christmas Facebook posts and analyzing them for literary merit live on air. Repent. And as always, share this podcast with the Navarran communist in your life. Until next time, read a good story.